Okay, what we're gonna start here is working the dump system. With an automatic transmission, we have the hydraulic brakes. Here we have your dump control and your PTO. Starting up procedures on this one, of course, having your parking brake on. If your foot is not on the brake, make sure your truck is on park to crank it. Just waiting for the wait to start light to go off on my engine. Got that one running. Now that I got that engine running, next thing I'm gonna do is engage the PTO. On an automatic transmission, whether the truck is on park or in neutral, you will not be able to engage the PTO. The reason why the gears are moving while it's on park or in neutral while the engine is running. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to engage my transmission on a gear, whether it can be reverse or drive, doesn't matter. I'm gonna go ahead and put it reverse, that way you can hear the beeping sound, and I'm gonna basically pull my PTO up, and you're gonna feel it. Make sure it goes all the way up, and then put my transmission back in park or in neutral. In this case, I'm gonna put it back in park or in or like I said, or in neutral, whichever, either way. Now, just to double check, just to make sure your PTO is running, sometimes you're gonna hear your pump running. If for some reason you don't hear the pump running, you will just make sure that the PTO stays engaged real good on it. Just to test it out right now, I'm gonna go ahead and try to work my PTO, my dump, just make sure my PTO is running properly. And there it is, it's going up. Give it a little bit of throttle, just make the hose go a little bit faster, just depend on the angle you want to go. And what you have here, this black dump control, it has three positions. Going, if I pull it up towards me, which is the up, it's gonna bring the hose down. Now I can go ahead and I'm gonna neutralize it. You can feel it neutralizes right in the center, and it basically shuts off all the hydraulic flow to the cylinder, and it leaves it at any motion that it's at, whether it can be all the way raised, all the way lower, or just halfway like I did right now. If I'm gonna, like I said, keep bringing it, if I'm gonna pull it up, it brings the hose down. And if I push the control, I'm gonna push it, and it takes the hose up again. And this is just basically with the idle of the engine itself. There's no gas being pressed on the engine right now. Like I say, you want it to go a little bit faster. Once you have a load, you might need to just press a little bit of throttle, otherwise you should be okay with just the idle position itself. Once I bring the body to a rest position, I'm gonna make sure I leave my dump back in the neutral, and like I said, you're gonna push it down and you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel a clicking noise, and that's pretty much what he's doing. Is he neutralizes the hydraulic pump so it has no motion whatsoever. Next thing I'm gonna do to disengage your PTO, you don't necessarily have to be on a gear, but I always do it for a safety precaution. I don't want to try to get the best out of my PTO, not to wear my gears. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna engage the gear. And what I did right there, pretty much my transmission is locked on a gear, so now my PTO is able to engage more softly than if it was to be running, so that way I don't mess my gear on my PTO or my gear in my transmission. I'm gonna push it down, and that pretty much disengages my PTO gear from the transmission. And that just basically, I always like to do it either, like I say, engage on reverse or on drive, doesn't matter. As long as my transmission is engaged, it basically stops the transmission, and the gears are able to either go in or pull out. It's not like I say, if I were to do this right now, what's doing, my transmission gear is running, and if I were to pull my PTO gear, I was gonna do that running, it's gonna grind. You're gonna hear a grinding noise. Well, eventually, with time, years maybe, it's gonna basically wear out your teeth on your either ring gear or your PTO gear, and eventually you will have a non-working PTO. That's what causes a lot of the wear and tear. But like I said, the safety precaution is engage transmission to engage PTO and engage transmission to disengage PTO, and that'll be the safest way to work your PTO. Besides that, you can pretty much everything else is all mechanical. In the back, the rear tailgate, it's a manual one. Just pull it out, and it basically opens up the tailgate. It's not an air operated, so this is basically your only controls for your dump body itself. And that's pretty much it.